right, good afternoon to the loyal listeners of the world's greatest podcast. Coming at you with something a little bit different today. I thought it'd be a bit rude for no one to talk about what is probably the craziest regular season round to date in this competition. Now, if you're wondering what I'm doing sitting on the lounge at this time on a Friday, I've managed to, due to the success of the podcast, I've quit my day job. That's what happens when you are the best Supercoach player in the world. If you're actually wondering, 1 week after recovering from tonsillitis, I now have contracted pharyngitis. So, not sure what I was doing in Sydney, but it's still got the better of me. So that's quite interesting. Anyway, obviously solo person pod. Don't have a lot of experience with this. Sorry if it's not the greatest work ever, but let's talk some Supercoach. It'll probably be a bit shorter than the regular ones. So we'll start with the ladder. So we've got, obviously there's so at the end of round 21, two teams tied in first between the Trails Titans and the Harry Dogs. Obviously Trails Titans had a grip on first place for a while, so well done to the Harry Dogs for actually making a contest out of it, both on 32 points there. And then interestingly, we've got a three-way tie currently between third, fourth and fifth. There'd be a few nervous coaches there. We all know how important the top four is. So sitting in third is Brad Bedwetter Morrison, who's 5-0 in his last five after a bit of a slide. The trade situation isn't good. He's probably on his last breath right now, but we'll see. Fourth, David's team. He's sort of just been plugging away after that excellent start. And then, fell back to reality a bit, but he seems to have found his feet a little bit. Grizzly Raiders, a team that's been up around this sort of spot all year. I think he'd be quite disappointed if he actually missed the top four. And then a big shocker here in six, the resurgence of the Copy Captains. Everyone thought they were done. People were calling for the coach's head. But he's, through all that media pressure, he's managed to turn the season around, so well done to him. And then we've got the Cardi Party in seventh. That would be, a really mouth-watering elimination, week one elimination final right there, Copy Captains and the Cardi Party. Hopefully we get to see that. And then eighth, just holding on by the skin of his teeth right now, the Butter Bandit, obviously another team who went on quite the resurgence. So well done to him. Hopefully it wasn't all for nothing and he can hold on to that spot. And then the two other coaches fighting for that last spot in the top eight. Adam O'Brien, this team's on a massive fucking skid right now. They suck. And the Dons Dongs. He had sort of had that top eight on lock before he went on his annual trip to the Epstein Island. So he's got no one to blame but himself. And then we've got the coaches playing for nothing but pride at the moment. Oakland A's in 11th, Doggies in 12th, Cinderella Man 13th, Bilbo's Mother Hot 14th, Best on Field 15th. Waltzing Matildas down in 16th, obviously 17th and 18th aren't actively playing. Do you chalk this up as another wooden spoon for Jack Kearney? Coming off a wooden spoon last year, it's got to be questions asked. And then up the guts and hey-ho, let's go round off the bottom. Look, I'm actually not really going to comment on last week's matches. Let's just talk about this week. Because no one really gives a fuck about last week. Alright, sorry, I'm trying to work the website here. I'm usually more of a phone operator, typically. So, first up, we've got Butter Bandit taking on Doggies. Butter Bandit actually projected to lose right now. You obviously can't read into these projections too much. Fucking Sangster comes out with some ludicrous stuff. But if we click into the matchup, obviously recording this on a Friday, so we have already watched the first game of the round, and it's actually also been updated already, interestingly. So 166 to 197, Doggies way. They both had a unique player last night, Lomax and Cameron Munster. Zach Lomax, 41. I mean, I understand he was versing the Storm, but it's a little bit disappointing. He's been basing well over these 40s, so to see him bang out a 41, it's upsetting, especially if you had him as a unique, as the Butter Bandit does. And then Cameron Munster, a 72 for Doggies. Look, I think Cameron Munster's a must-have. It's fully his team with no Jerome Hughes in the side. Sure, they're probably going to be scoring less points, but all these points are going to be coming through Munster, as we saw with the 2 kicks last night. So I definitely think he's the 5'8" to own for the run home. You can run that dual prong attack with Jaden Campbell as well, which is a pretty popular option, but just get him in. Plenty of actually uniques in this matchup. 11 uniques for round 22. Good on them. Rounding out the rest of the side, Doggie's team is actually looking pretty good. It looks like he's put a few good trades together this week. I see a Jake Avarillo in there. That's interesting. 5-round average of 73.8. Why has no one been talking about this bloke? This bloke's on fire. Nice trade. I like it. And who do the Dolphins play? They play the Warriors, coming off a loss to the Titans, and we all know the Dolphins can seriously put on some points when they're on, but at the same time, Butter Bandit's got Asako and Katoa there, who a lot of the points are going to come through. Looks like a new signing for the Butter Bandit to keep his season alive, KO Weeks, and he's even given him the captain's armband, said, mate, we're signing you 1 week before finals. This could be your one and only game for the club. Make it count. So ballsy move. We all know KO can score a 30, but at the same time, he's obviously got that 170 potential in him. I like the move, pod move, and obviously the Raiders playing as well as they are. It's a good move. I don't know if I'd captain. I would probably definitely look at changing that to a vice captain. It's just a little bit too risky for me with some other good captaincy choices this round. Looking at the rest, Sandon Smith is playing for the Butter Bandit. He's not playing this week, mate. What are you doing? Your season's on the line and you've got fucking players that aren't playing in there. Oh, because he's also got Wade Egan, who's also knocked out. It's not what you want. Both your hookers coming off concussions when your season's on the line. He's got Garrick as a unique in there, which is surprising. Obviously, that's typically a player you see as common. Butter Bandit captained Garrick last week, even though against the Dogs, that 110 projection got him interested, obviously. A few Raiders there for Doggies. I like the trades he's made this week. I have heard some rumours that he hired a consultant for these trades. I won't reveal who. It's just the Supercoach, inside word from the Supercoach Mull that consultancy firm was hired to help round out the team and the Butter Bandit season this week, which is interesting. Nico Hines as a unique, I like that. Looking at these uniques, it's really up to how KO Weeks performs with that captaincy on him. I'd be scared if I was the Butter Bandit. I'd definitely want a more comfortable match with your season on the line. I will still tip the Butter Bandit. I think he's just shown too much class the last few weeks. But this match is actually looking like it'll be a bit of a thriller. So stay tuned with it through the week. Next up, we've got the Grizzly Raiders taking on bottom of the barrel Walting Matildas. Look, his para players kind of let him down a bit last night. Jack Williams, who's actually ended up being a pretty decent buy for him, and could be one to look out for next year at a decent price. 5-round average of 61.6 there. He's definitely playing a lot better footy at Parramatta. And I think he's just going to get better. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's a genuine Supercoach option next year. Zach Lomax, we sort of already covered. 41, bit disappointing. Riley Smith, you can't still be running Riley Smith. This is why you're bottom of the table. Leka Halasima, Alex John. This team is poo. Absolutely poo. Jalen de Groot, Jed Stewart, Adam Dewey. What's doing? Fucking hell, Kearney. I thought you were better than this. I thought the wooden spoon would make you wake up to yourself a bit. But you seriously need to get back in the lab, mate, because this is not good enough. So we're looking across the Grizzly Raiders, like, there's no way he shouldn't be winning this game. Just those uniques for Kearney are really, really poor. Kiraz captain, obviously playing fullback. It'll be interesting to see how he goes. The bloke will probably take fucking 30 carries, like his base will be insane. But at the same time, I don't really see him icing any 3-on-2s. So it might just be a base stat performance. And probably less opportunity to offload playing fullback as well. So it actually might affect his score, if anything. Ezra Mam in there for the Grizzly Raiders. Ezra Mam's a pretty shit pick, in my opinion. I obviously said I think Munster's the man to go. Like 3-round average of 48 for Ezra Mam. That's not good enough for this time of the year. He's playing Ezra Mam over Fanua Blake. I know Fanua Blake isn't going that crash hot. He's also got a 3-round average of 47, which is really poor for him. Down to 500k. That'll have him at a sort of mouth-watering price to start next year. I'm not really sure what's going on with AFB at the moment, but minutes down, it's not been great for him. Cam McInnes, how's he been performing? Yeah, another mid player, 5-round average of 53. A few just mid players here for the Grizzly Raiders. I still think it'll be enough to get him over the line, but you're going to need a little bit more firepower for these finals coming up starting next week. So, look, I think he'll get the win, and obviously it'll be judging off how results go, and it might see him sneak into the top 4. But if he comes 4th, I'm sure the Travis Titans would love to see the Grizzly Raiders opposing him. All right. Next up, Bilbo's Mother Hot versus Adam O'Brien. Adam O'Brien playing for his season here. Oh my God. Xavier Willison, interesting. We do know Adam O'Brien's theory in Supercoach is a little bit different. He is a bit of a pod man. I will give him credit for that. Blaze Talangi in there against the Titans. Potential to go big there. He's also got the captaincy on Kiraz. Like I said, that'll be really interesting to see how that goes. They both own Nick Meaney, back to centres. He's back to being shit, so get rid of him if you make the finals. Tyrone Wishart still there for him. Also has Jerome Hughes, who he didn't trade. Must be out of trades. Otherwise, you would definitely have flicked him as quickly as you could to a Nico Hines, which he hasn't been able to do. Bilbo's Mother Hot still running around with Clint Gutherson. This isn't round 2. Matt Tomoko, he was also on the lineup for the Doggies. Interesting little pod with how good the Raiders are playing. 3-round average, 89.7, 5-round, 75.8. Playing some good footy. He's coming off of 134 last week, so could be chasing a little bit of last week's points there. So that'll be interesting to see how he goes. But a good pod. I do like it. Probably, now's the time of year where you can start looking for those centre the wing pods that have the good run home, versus a few weaker sides that you wouldn't typically carry through the regular season. And Tomoko, looking at that, might be, sort of towards the top of that list. So don't mind that. All in all, should be a relatively close game. No James Tedesco for Bilbo's Mother Hot. I don't know how you can't own Teddy. That's just poor. Really, really poor. Obviously, Payne Haas injury cloud. Bill Brock, not an owner of Payne Haas, so he'd be happy with that. Not that he's playing for anything, but, you know, Unique Payne Haas sitting there for Bo. If he's ruled out, he'd be filthy. Another really close game that could go either way. I am going to lean with Adam O'Brien, and it might be enough to sneak him into the 8. We'll soon see. All right, next up, we got plenty of actually like close projected games here. Next up, Best on Field takes on the Bedwetter. So starting off with Best on Field, he had a Unique Pappenhausen last night. Obviously, people who held, not going to be happy. They held on to him, you know, licking their lips at this Parramatta matchup. And he went pretty poo. Finished on 38 and got 10 unicorn points. Ridiculous. Yeah, where the fuck did those points actually come from? I'd love to know. But Bedwetter also had 3 uniques last night. Cameron Munster, we spoke plenty about him. Charlie Geimer, who's, you know, playing plenty of minutes on that edge and is actually playing some good Supercoach footy. 3-round average of 70. And Bedwetter's got him starting. He scored 68. That did include a try last night, but sneaky pod, question mark? Probably not someone I'd lean with, but like, it's not the worst play ever. Tuivasa-Sheck, Ewan Aitken, AJ Brimson. This team is maybe potentially lacking a tiny bit of firepower, partly due to the fact he has Dylan Lucas, Keon, and Jerome Hughes still. Yeah, what's going on there? I think we all know he's out of trades. I think the tank's running on empty for the Bedwetter. If he makes the top 4, it'll be great, but he could seriously be staring down the barrel of straight sets. He just needs, because, you know, he's got some serious, like, uniques there, and, like, these will be uniques in most matchups. Turbo, Brimo, Aitken, Tuivasa-Sheck, Charlie Geimer, I guess. Like, if those guys fire, and there's no reason they can't, obviously they're just not as good as the premium guys, then he could, you know, easily win matchups. But you're going to have him going in as the underdog in most cases, just due to the amount of salary cap he has injured. Yeah, so it's going to be tough for him, but he could go on a little run. Do I think it'll happen? Fuck no. Straight sets. But rounding out this match, another one that could go either way. Looks like Best on Field and the Butter Bandit must have had a bit of chat on the work site, both bringing in KO Weeks. Yeah, I don't know how in depth into Supercoach they go, but they obviously liked that, so good on yous. Yeah, I mean, I suppose Bedwetter's playing for top 4, so the outcome of this match is important, but I don't really give a fuck. Next up, Generational Poo Slinger, Oakland A's, sucks. Up the guts, Kobe, sucks. He captained Pappenhausen. Looks like he actually adjusted his team this week. Interestingly, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe he didn't. And there's no need to fucking talk about him. Or the Oakland A's, really. Yeah. Minor premiership into missing the finals completely. Back to the drawing board, Jordan. Seriously, back to the drawing board. Yeah, where did it all go wrong this year? I'd be locking myself in the barn and, you know, seriously thinking about what you can do better next year. You're in some poor Supercoach form, realistically, when you think about it, after winning the minor premiership easily last year, to bouncing out in straight sets, to now, you know, missing the 8 and really not even finishing that close. Like, sure, your team's decent, you might have got a bit unlucky, but it's just not good enough. So, yeah, no one really gives a fuck about this match, so I'm just going to stop talking about it there. Next up, not really too much to comment on here again. Cardi Party just bending over and humping, doing what he likes with Hey Ho, Let's Go. yeah, there's really just no need to talk here. I can see he's still got Hamole, the Cardi Party, and Keon and Tino. So interesting to see what he'll do there. He has Tarpanay and Horsburgh still. So if not a lot of... He's got 2 nuffs in these 2 Roosters guys. Hamole out for the year. Tino likely out for the year. Keon out for the year. Karapani, who's been dropped. So seriously lacking some depth there. I don't know what his trade situation is like, but he could be in trouble. So that's something to keep an eye out on. Yeah, there's no point really talking about the match. It's sort of just more about the makeup of his team. Yeah, one injury to the Cardi Party's team, and we could see him in trouble. If he has kind of under 4 or less trades, I'd say he can't make a dent on the finals. Just, yeah, a few too many holes in that team for me. Obviously, the players he's playing are great. Like, his actual playing side, it's kind of hard to hole pick. Ronaldo there, we all know he can go big, but he can also be fucking horse shit. Like, he scored 91 last round and still only has a 5-round average of 50. Massive roller coaster owning Ronaldo, but at the same time, you hate to see him as a unique against you. So, yeah, there's going to be a few questions for the Cardi Party to answer as to how he can manage this side into the final series. But he is a proven good coach, and I'm sure he'll be able to handle it. Next up, another people's kind of matchup. We love seeing these guys against each other. Cinderella Man, Aaron Clark versus the Dons Dongs. Nick over on Epstein Island probably doesn't even realise the fact that he's actually currently playing for that last spot in the finals. And he's off to a good start with Lomax only scoring 41 for the Cinderella Man versus when he had Munster. He's got the straight C on Nathan Cleary, which is obviously a very popular option this week. And his main man, KO Weeks, is actually a common player this week. Looks like a few players have actually jumped on him. So we'll give the Dons Dongs credit for that. We know how much he touted on about this bloke, so good on you. He's also brought in the Fog. We do know he loves going Raiders heavy. I think Fogarty's actually played pretty decent Supercoach footy this year. Yeah, he's averaging 70, but it's hard to justify him when there's Nico and there's Cleary. Obviously, that would probably put him as the 3rd best halfback available. I don't mind it, but just when those 2 options are so elite, it's not where I'd be looking to pod, but it could work out for him. Wade Egan sitting there playing for the Cinderella Man. He's concussed, mate. It's because his other hooker is enough. Unlucky. Alan Fitzgibbon on the bench for Nick. That's low aura. Really low aura. All these non-players stink. He's fucking 1 injury away from a crisis. But his actual playing side is good. Looks like he's brought in Blake Brayley this week. I don't think he had him before. I could be wrong. Obviously, he's been the best Supercoach hooker probably these last 2 months. So I couldn't justify the price tag if you did buy him this week at 740k, but obviously he's a good player to own. Looking at this side for the Dons Dongs, he's got Jed Stewart there, which isn't ideal, but every other player is a genuine gun. This is definitely the strongest side he has ever fielded. And if he snuck into the 8, he could cause a few upsets. It's just those Raiders guys. Like, if the Raiders go big and shit on a team, then there's no reason the Dons Dongs couldn't cause an upset. So I would like to see him in the finals. I'd like to hear the chat from him. I hopefully he does win and actually goes on to make the 8. Cinderella Man. Look, it's been a valiant effort this year. He's coming off a big win versus David's team last week, so good on you, mate. I'm sure you've had a good week on the work site in return. Hopefully you gave it to him plenty. Look, Cinderella man, we all saw how poo he started, but I think he's really gained some experience quickly and could definitely be a factor next year. Obviously, spends a lot of time with the coach of David's team. They'd be talking a lot of Supercoach. Good sort of mentor to have. And I'm definitely placing bets for the Cinderella man to make the 8 next year. I think he'll be much better for the run. And looking at his team, like, he's still finished in a pretty good way. So good on you, Aaron. You are sort of the people's champ amongst this comp. So keep your head high. It's been a decent enough year. You've beaten some good players. Unfortunately, it just didn't quite work out, but we're looking forward to seeing you lace back up next year. And then second last, David's team versus the Copy Captains. Obviously, very exciting matchup. So David probably needs to win to hold on to top 4. And last night was a great start for him. Copy Captains 3 uniques for an average of about 55, which isn't probably quite enough at this time of the year. But at the same time, this game's nowhere near over. I would say the Copy Captains probably has a bit more strike in the uniques, but a lot of that strike has already played and not struck. So that's an issue. Obviously, the Payne Haas speculation right now. There is inside mail from the coach of the Copy Captains. He is fucking stressing about it. So, doesn't know what to do, doesn't want to play Campbell, doesn't want to play Roger, won't be able to make the decision due to the timing of the games. He's in all sorts, doesn't know what to do, and we all know whatever decision he makes will be the wrong one. So, good luck with that. David's team, much improved this week. I'm pretty sure he boosted to bring in some serious firepower, or it might have been last week. His team is looking much better. He's got Cleary in there now. Dylan Edwards, who's absolutely on fire. Playing Corey Horsburgh in the big round fucking 22. Don't love it, but whatever. And AFB, who's obviously, as we mentioned, been quite out of form, Supercoach-wise. So we'll see how he goes. Looking at the non-players, Dylan Lucas, Keon, and Toby Couchman, all there for David's team. 3 players missing the year. So depth is questionable. Karapani, yeah. So Kalani going, doesn't play. Karapani dropped. Keon injured. Toby injured. King Tongia, like, sure he's playing, but you'd never want to play him in a game you need to win. Miles Martin, non-player. E. Roberts, non-player. Dylan Lucas injured. So he's only got 1 playing player in the non-players. So depth is looking poor. And when you have poor depth going into this time of the year, you end up having to fucking play Joey Lussick at hooker. And that's not what you want. So I don't like what I'm seeing there. I'm pretty sure the trades are getting pretty low. I think there's, he's in a very similar position to the Cardi Party. And, I mean, not so much the bedwetter. I think he's actually fully out of trades. Very similar position to Cardi Party. Depth is getting questionable. And 1 or 2 more injuries pretty much spells season over for him. So I do think, just due to the start of this match, he's actually going to win this week in David's team and hold on to that spot in the top 4, which will probably give us Copy Captains versus Cardi Party in a week 1 elimination final, which will be great. And yeah, I mean, Cleary captain against the Titans, anything could happen there, but he's got the vice captain on him. So, yeah, I like the Hudson Young unique for Copy Captains. Jaden, yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a really interesting match. Just like, yeah, all the games are looking pretty interesting this week. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with David's team to edge it out. All right, and then last of all, what everyone's been waiting to hear about, we've got the game for the minor premiership. Harry Dogs taking on the Trenos Titans. So 1 unique played so far, Ryan Pappenhausen, which, he was looking pretty poo. until those 10 unicorn points. Like, even that, it's still a 48. It's not great. Not too many uniques between this side. He's got Blake Brayley, who is the best averaging hooker recently, but Connor Watson could easily turn in a pretty big game. Kickout versus Preston. Travis Titans finds himself fucking with this matchup quite often, and that's really likely to go either way. Angus Crichton. A lot of people were talking about buying Angus Crichton after the Origin period, but he's just not him this year. I understand he was cheap and he's a fallen gun and whatnot, but I don't think he's good enough. I know a lot of people went key on to him or whatnot, but he doesn't have Keary there anymore. Luke Keary was a master of having a combination with his second rower. It's just not there for him this year. I would not buy Angus Crichton, and I'm sure Toronto Titans would be very happy seeing him as a unique against him. In saying all that, he'll probably score a double this week, so I'd be putting that bet on Sportsbet if I was a listener. Reece Walsh, unique he's versing some shit opposition. I can't remember off the top of my head. Versing the last place South Sydney Rabbitohs. Gonna really look forward to watching Reece Walsh tear them apart and hopefully taking the loop, Toronto Titans there. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. They both have the captaincy on Cleary at the moment, but that's could very easily change. Scott Drinkwater as a unique in the big round 22. That is insane. That is poor coaching from the Harry Dogs. All in all, Hudson Young, unique as well. I think it's very hard to lean past the Toronto Titans. I think he will take out the minor premiership, but this game could still easily go either way, just like most of the games this week. Harry Dogs, can he make a splash in the finals? I'm sure we'll talk about this more next week when we know who his opponent is. So his first time ever making the top 4, so he'll actually get 2 chances. It's been very well documented. He's never won a finals game. Will it be straight sets? There'd probably be plenty of fans calling for the coach's head if that was the case, and I'd consider taking a year off. But we'll soon find out. All right, so those are this week's games. Pretty interesting round of Supercoach. Plenty to play for and plenty of close matchups, so really can't wait for it to pan out. In the meantime, I can't be fucked, sorry, ignore. So that is Supercoach. Thanks everyone for playing the regular season. We're now at the best time of the year, Supercoach finals. The sledges, everyone wants to see the sledges, the banter. It's exciting stuff. I can't wait. Hopefully, I'm sure the full panel will be back next week, and we'll get some good content out for you guys. All right, so that's all I've got for you. Thanks for listening. Cheers.